How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sunday, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. Here I am furiously trying to resubscribe to my own Twitch. I'll get it figured out here in a moment. I'll be using my Amazon Prime account to get a free Twitch. Did you know you can do that? Indeed, you can. If you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to our Twitch channel for free. You get a free Twitch subscription with your Amazon Prime account. I use mine every month for my own site. That's the kind of guy I am. Hey, it's Friday here on the show. We got a lot to talk about here today because there's always a lot to talk about on Fridays, isn't there? So a lot to get into, including the ratings for the Dynamite show on Wednesday. Dynamite saw the ravages of Hurricane Ian as it ended up 999,000 viewers. And if you look at the cable charts, I mean, the Weather Channel was all over the place. So it's also, there's more we could talk about, but I don't think that power outages necessarily directly affected the last half hour of the show, but we did get word from a lot of people who lost their power right around 9:30. And 9:30 is, I guess it was 10:30. 10:30 is when they lost a lot of viewership. So there was a lot going on Wednesday night. I don't think it's anything to panic about, but because it was under 1 million, you know how it went on my timeline. So we'll talk about that here today. Next week's show is going to have an extended runtime. We'll tell you about that. Roosh, Bandito. Contract notes on the two of them. Dr. Chris Amon, no longer with WWE. And in fact, there is a Vice TV documentary on Vince McMahon, which will be coming out sometime in October. And both myself and Dave Meltzer are involved in that documentary. We were interviewed for it, so I can tell you a little bit about that. And some notes on NXT 2.0 as well. So a lot to get into here today. You can send us a text message, 425-780-7566. Bryan at WrestlingObserver.com, at Bryan Alvarez on Twitter. Back in a moment with more Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. If you head to my Twitter right now, no, this is not a plug for super followers. But if you go to my Twitter right now, I have retweeted a link to a GoFundMe. And essentially what happened is one of the main audio guys for AEW was at Dynamite this week. And I believe that his mother was staying at his house. And as a result of Hurricane Ian, there was like an explosion and the house burned down. So there's a GoFundMe up right now for him. And I believe Tony Khan and Chris Jericho have already donated, I think, $10,000 each. It's up to $40,000 already. So if you have any spare change and would like to donate to a good cause, that just came across here today. So best wishes to him and his family. It was not good, this whole Hurricane Ian. So there you go. That's up there right now. So news today, we got a lot of it. The hurricane also affected ratings, although that's the least of the issues with the hurricane. But Dynamite, 990,000 viewers on TBS, down 4.7%. First time the show's been below 1 million since August 17th. 0.34 and 18 to 49. And of course, if you look at the cable charts, Weather Channel, Weather Channel, Weather Channel, Weather Channel, Weather Channel. Top 7 spots in 18 to 49. So if you exclude the Weather Channel, Dynamite would be second to Tucker Carlson Fox News, which I would suspect was also talking about the hurricane. So I would not read too much into these numbers. Obviously, don't go on my timeline. Numbers fine. What happened was the show started. It was not like the last few weeks where it's been like a razor straight line throughout the show. It started big, 1.2 million, and just began a decline. And for about an hour, from 9:30 to 10:30, it was right around 1 million, and then 10:30 to 11:30, it lost several 100,000 viewers. And I don't think that it's 100,000 people were all in South Florida and lost power, but I did hear from several people that were there, and they all said we lost power right after the women's segment, which is in fact where there was a steep decline. So I think that would have been a small part of it, but I don't think that's the entire deal. But those are your Dynamite numbers, and nothing to worry about. Let's not all freak out, right?
No, the sky is obviously falling. It is.
I think we agree the sky is not falling, sure. Mike. Don't scare people. Next Wednesday's Dynamite, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
It will have an extended runtime.
Oh, yeah?
Tony Khan announced today the October 5th edition will be 15 minutes longer than usual. It is the Dynamite 3-year anniversary episode. It will air till 10:15 p.m. Tony Khan said to celebrate 3 years, the Dynamite anniversary show has 15 minutes extra runtime, 2 hours and 15 minutes total. Battle of the Belts live next Friday after a live Rampage. I still haven't figured that one out. Thank you, WBD, for the anniversary next week. We've got Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia versus Jericho and Sammy Guevara. MJF versus Wheeler Yuta. Luchasaurus will be in action. That damn dinosaur. Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal. And National Scissoring Day with the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn.
Well, that's obviously why they need the extra 15 minutes for the scissoring segment.
I don't know how long that's going to need.
Well, you may need it to be a little bit after 10 p.m. because you never know what could happen during a scissoring segment. Could get a little wild.
Well, actually, I do know what could happen.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if it's
been a part of some scissoring situations in your past?
Session here. So, also, Hurricane Ian affected NXT as, there were several people down there as part of NXT that lost power, just now getting power restored. The power is being restored to the Performance Center today, and NXT will be live again next Tuesday, 2 weeks of taped shows. And as I had figured, one of the reasons they did 2 weeks of taped shows was kind of redoing the set, because the old NXT 2.0 is gone. There is a new NXT 3.0, but they're not calling it that. They're going back to the gold. It's gold and white this time. And they are redoing the set, okay? But I have been told it is not, although when you think about it, I don't even know what this means. We're going to find out Tuesday. It's not as drastic as the change to 2.0. I don't think it could be. If you guys saw the changeover from NXT to NXT 2.0, you probably couldn't have a more drastic change. I guess if you would have put the ring like on the ceiling and everybody had to like wrestle upside down. But I mean, other than that, the colors and the, I talked to my buddy, I think it was Mark. I'm not sure who it was. But one of my buddies, they watched NXT 2.0 for the first time. And they said, there are CGI humans. I was like, what? And I had never noticed before because, like, I don't care that much. But they have giant video walls with fake people. Like, that's a pretty big addition. You know what I'm saying? Fake people. So anyway, I don't know what it's going to look like, but they did do a remodel, a remake over whatever. It's going to be different, but it's not going to be like, I'm told, massively, drastically different. But we will see a change.
Well, thank God Mandy Rose is still there, because nothing screams NXT more than Mandy Rose. Well, Mandy Rose and Alba Fire. Are you ready? Are you ready for this, Brian?
You know,
she comes from a family of fire walkers or throwers or something.
It's a fire something. It's not a fire walker. It's the keepers of the flame, I think is the way it was described. Which is like, listen, Alba Fire is a great talent. This gimmick is just, it's ridiculous. Her name is Alba Fire, and like she walks around with a torch. We didn't even talk about this. They did 2 angles on NXT this week, okay? One of them, she was in the parking lot, and it was funny because like Toxic Attraction's cutting a promo, and they cut to Alba, and she goes, "I'm not into words, I'm in action." And she literally said, "I'm not into words, I'm in actions." And then she throws down her torch as a keeper of the flame, and words appear in flame. And new, it says. And I was like, I thought you weren't into words. It seems like you're really into words because you lit words on fire right here as a threat. So that was the first one. That was goofy.
And a hashtag at that.
I didn't even notice the hashtag.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a hashtag and new.
Okay. Well, then later in the show, this was my favorite. So they did some segment and Toxic Attraction is out there, and then whoever the random baby faces are, it's like, it doesn't matter. But they're kind of yelling at each other. Like there's the one on this side and the one on this side, and they're yelling at each other. And all of a sudden, Alba Fire appears out of nowhere with her torch, and she goes, ba-bam! And this giant freaking wall of flame shoots between everybody, and even the baby faces almost get burned. And they're like, ah! And I was like, what? What? You're an arsonist? I don't get it. This is not my favorite storyline.
Oh,
Alba
my God.
Fire.
Oh, my God. I just thought about it. 15 extra minutes? 15 minutes that can be dedicated to Pretty Deadly. Oh, my God.
Wrong show, geek.
Oh, man.
Dynamite is 15 minutes extra.
Damn it. I need NXT to be 15 minutes extra.
I've missed a few Fridays lately. It's a good thing I didn't miss this one. You're not on your game. You're
really
pulling
don't
a
wanna be on my
Soraya
game today.
tonight.
I'm ready for it to be the weekend, to be honest with you. And I'm thinking about 15 minutes extra with Pretty Deadly. Of course, I'm also thinking if they did give NXT 15 extra minutes, well, it would be Toxic Attraction or somebody like that who would get that spot instead, and that would make me very unhappy.
Roosh is now under a
good.
full-time deal with AEW. And yes, Bandito, after Wednesday, was immediately offered a full-time contract.
Is that when Tony jumped into his arms?
Dude, I'd have jumped into his arms after that match.
It was incredible.
And I don't know
I
if
just worry about him backflipping off the stage with me.
Now, it just says here that he was offered a deal. Hopefully he signed. Because, I mean, WWE was asking for his number, like, before that match was even over. A man is in demand. Which begs the question, like, why was he not in demand before Wednesday? I don't think we needed Wednesday to find out that Bandito was great. Anyway, back in a moment, Observer Live.
Let's go. All right, here we go. Question number 1. You're always traveling. What are your top 3 favorite places you've been to?
Okay, Paris, because it was super special. I love to go back to Brazil every time because I see my family and I have such like a great time. And the third one, I had a great experience every time I went to Cancun. Mexico is like my third home, I would say.
I love all of those picks, and Cancun is amazing. Like Isla Mujeres, all of that. Oh, so nice.
I want to go there every week. Let me tell you, I have time off. I want to go there.
Hey, girl, hit me up. I will go to Cancun too.
Go trip. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Question number 2. If you weren't a wrestler, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
I would be in judos too, for sure. Like being an athlete is my life. I was born to do that. I was born to represent my country. I'm doing this since I was 7 years old. So I for sure would be in judo right now.
Awesome. And question number 3, if you had an all-girl rock band, who'd you pick as your 3 other bandmates? And they can be anybody, celebrity, best friends, wrestlers, people from the past, people from the present, anybody.
Damn, I would say I would have Nyla. Dude, Nyla is the best. Let me tell you,
Awesome.
all her tweets and that, a badass and a funny person. I need to have Nyla with me. She will defend me and she's gonna make me laugh. So I would Nyla. I would have my sister because she's my best friend. I need her with me. I feel safe around her. She's like younger than me, but I'll say she's older because she's way more responsible. And I would have my little sister. Like she's adopted, but like she's my baby. And like we took her, my family got her when she was 2 months. And she's our baby, our like inspiration, my motivation to keep growing, doing better in life. So I can show her that like you can have a better life no matter where you come from.
Oh my God, I love that. That's so awesome. And there's nothing like a sisterly bond, a sisterly love. It's not replaceable. It's irreplaceable. Question number 4. What's the one item you must always have stocked in your kitchen?
Ooh, in my kitchen. I'm a bad person cooking. I don't cook. I don't have much in my kitchen, but candies.
Yes. Any particular flavors or brands or anything like that?
I would say like Bis is a type of like chocolate. It's a brand from Brazil. I love it.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. You know, Mike, a couple of weeks ago, I was unavailable for this show, and you took over.
Mm-hmm.
Got nothing but bad reviews. But anyway, I was actually being interviewed for this Vice TV documentary on Vince McMahon.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I can admit it now. That's actually what I was doing. Documentary on Vince McMahon set to be released next month. Vice TV currently working on the project. According to a report from PW Insider, I love when they break my news. It will air sometime in October.
Huh.
Documentary will focus on McMahon's career, as well as the hush money scandal broken by the Wall Street Journal that led to his resignation from WWE. Our own Dave Meltzer was interviewed for the film, the front page says. Yeah, and also me.
Oh, yeah?
Front page.
Really?
Yes. HBO Real Sports said to be working on a segment focusing on Vince McMahon. There's a lot of other ones as well. But, I mean, it's possible I sucked and I won't be on it, but they did interview me for about 2.5 hours. And I got to talk about my favorite subject, the departure of Vince McMahon.
Not you? That's what I thought your favorite subject was.
The departure of me?
No, just you in general.
I don't
talking about you.
I don't like talking about myself, Mike. You know that.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Yes.
You know who also was interviewed for that? The Wrestling News' Bryan Solomon. You know who Bryan
Really?
Solomon is, don't you?
I think I recommended him.
Yeah, so former WWE magazine writer and fine man who wrote a fine book with the Sheik book, which if you're a fan of wrestling books at all, there's been a couple that have come out. Obviously, the Brian Gewirtz book, everybody's talked about that one. That's pretty incredible. But if you like history, that Sheik book is really something else about a guy that really talked about keeping kayfabe alive until the end. The Sheik definitely tried to do that.
Well, you know what I'll do is I might have some behind-the-scenes photos here that maybe I can tweet out to my super followers.
How about that?
Later on today. Bryan Alvarez on Twitter, at Bryan Alvarez.
Hey, you know what date is, Brian?
What's today? My birthday?
I believe it's National Podcast Day.
No, is it really?
I believe it is, and I'm not saying
that for cameos.
Nothing to do with this, but everything to do with the fact that you're out there pimping your cameos. You haven't done that in a while since you've been after all of these super followers. What if you're a super follower who wants a cameo?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't know how any of this works. I can't offer discounts or anything like that, but they're very cheap. And I don't feel I need to promote it as much given my 185 five-star ratings that I've got.
Let's see, the Big Boss Man bundle deal. How do we get all of the social media at once from you?
I don't know. It just was weird how it came out of me like DDP.
Yeah.
All right, we got some questions here.
A lot flows out of you.
425-780-7566. Text me. And you know what? Because it's Friday, I'm going to open up the phone lines in the next segment. Because I like to have a good time. I'm like Michelle McCool.
Remember when you were going to make it Hawaiian shirt day?
Let's see. This person, Mike... This person actually says, "Hey, Brian. Hey, Mike." Yeah. I'm a big Dalton Castle fan. I was wondering if there's any reason why we haven't seen more of him on AEW since the initial shutdown of Ring of Honor. Is there a concern that his gimmick will not... Well, it's not that concern. Possibly not that. Is there some backstage... No. Listen, there's a lot of guys that are in contract to Ring of Honor that we haven't seen a lot on AEW television. We have seen him a few times. But I think he's an exclusive Ring of Honor, exclusive, it's all the same. But, I think that he's largely going to be a Ring of Honor talent. And if they have a battle royal or whatever and they need him and the boys, they'll use him. But, I mean, I am a gigantic fan of Dalton Castle. I think he's awesome. If you go into the archives, years ago, he was on this show a few times. And he's always Dalton Castle. He's always Dalton Castle.
Yeah,
and I love his work, and I wish he was showcased more. But there's no conspiracy and or issue. It's just they got a lot of talent, dude. They got a lot of talent exclusive to AEW. They're not doing anything with, so I wouldn't read too much into it.
They're for a lot of different reasons. Ring of Honor could not get out of its own way, and some of it was self-inflicted. Some other parts of it were just bad luck. And Dalton Castle's back being as bad as it was at the time where he was champion and just what went on after that. It's too bad he didn't get a chance to be able to shine more. And hopefully in the future he can. And Bandito's another one where that era is not a very good one. And again, a lot of it was self-inflicted from Ring of Honor, self-inflicted from Sinclair Broadcasting, not investing well enough in the company. But if you look at the people of color, if you look at Shane Taylor Promotions, if you look at Bandito and some of the other people that they made champions and that they pushed, out of necessity, partly out of necessity because they needed to be different than everybody else in a field that was crowding them out. People, again, it's not like somebody's got to go back and do a deep dive right away on it, but there is some good stuff, and they tried some good stuff. And if Bandito can finally catch on somewhere else other than AAA, where his star can continue to shine, I mean, boy, I would love to see him in New Japan, after a performance like that, because he would fit in perfectly.
This person here says, I find Jericho holding the Ring of Honor title hostage the best thing on Dynamite right now. Join the club, brother. Who ultimately should be the one to beat him? Well, here's the thing. Ultimately, a rising young star needs to end up the Ring of Honor champion down the line. Now, in this instance, I actually do not think that I would have Chris Jericho necessarily put over, for example, a Daniel Garcia for the title. And the reason for that is I believe that this storyline should end. And it's going to be hard because they're already doing the match, so I guess we'll have to figure out what they do. But I think this story should end with, like, Bryan Danielson saving the honor of Ring of Honor and unseating Chris Jericho at, like, Final Battle, a big pay-per-view where you make a lot of money. Danielson could then be a guy to put over a Garcia or whoever, and then that person could be elevated. But I really like the idea of, and the reason I say that is because the whole Jericho story is dishonoring Ring of Honor and beating all of the former Ring of Honor champions, beating up the Kerry Silkins and the Bobby and everything like that. So this story to me doesn't end with just somebody that's never been a part of Ring of Honor unseating him. This ends with a former Ring of Honor champion bringing glory back to Ring of Honor, and Bryan Danielson's the perfect guy. Now, they've already announced a match. I can't imagine. I would be hugely disappointed if Danielson just ends his Jericho thing in 2 weeks. This has got to go on for a while, and he's got to be beating some, former Ring of Honor champion. Yeah, this person mentions Joe. Some former Ring of Honor, not Loki, some former Ring of Honor star needs to beat Jericho to bring joy back to Ring of Honor, and then they can be unseated by a new star. That's my thought.
I know you can be prone to a little hyperbole, but my God, the way you were filleting Chris Jericho in this
I knew you were going to bring something like that up, but am I wrong?
Moses.
Was I wrong? Did you watch that show?
You are not wholly incorrect, because it is the best thing that ROH has done.
I'm not incorrect at all.
When it comes to ROH, it's the best thing that's been done in a while. The problem is because nothing's been done with ROH in a while, and I think it's very good. But look, unless this leads to TV, unless this leads to something that is going to be beneficial for ROH individually away from AEW, nothing works yet. Okay? Just I'm sorry. Nothing works yet.
What do you want him to do? Just go like this and get a TV deal? I'm sure they're trying.
But you're acting as if this is the greatest thing in the history of pro wrestling with Chris Jericho. He's revived Ring of Honor. No, he hasn't. He's just got the belt.
Wow,
that's all he does.
Here we go.
He cuts better interviews than Claudio. I mean, you immediately took the belt off of Claudio, and I understand why. But it's not like that benefited Claudio greatly. It doesn't hurt him, but it didn't benefit him. And I think you do actually have to have somebody that can be touched by the history of Ring of Honor, whether it be Joe and Danielson or somebody, but it's got to be somebody new to pick up the torch. Doesn't necessarily have to be a new name per se, but it does have to be somebody new that can actually, combine what's old about Ring of Honor with where it's going. To me, unless you do that, what do you do if you just pass the belt to Danielson? Why does Danielson have to be the savior of Ring of Honor? Why does that make any sense?
That's the story. Jericho
That's
was
your story,
bro. You're telling me
you got Garcia,
Captain Booker
you got Yuta. Part of this is about some new generation of guy or somebody that's uniquely Ring of Honor. Those guys aren't uniquely Ring of Honor anymore. They're not.
I'll have Matt Taven. I think he'd be a great guy to unseat Chris Jericho at the end of this feud.
If it's Dalton Castle,
God bless the guy.
If it's Matt Taven, if it's Jay Briscoe, if it's somebody that's more uniquely Ring of Honor, that's not AEW, that's not just a guy on the AEW roster who was a Ring of Honor guy, and he's going to be the one who says, okay, Tony Khan's got this now. I'm your guy to take you to the future. I'm your guy to beat Jericho and get him out of the way and carry your brand. Then, yeah, to me, that makes more sense than Bryan Danielson coming to save the day or Samoa Joe coming to save the day. I just don't think that's what it's going to need. But we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's the best thing in pro wrestling. Greatest thing to happen to Ring of Honor ever. Easy money, baby.
Are you happy?
I knew it was going to happen with Bobby Cruz.
Are you happy?
I knew it when Kerry Silkin got hit where they were going with this.
We'll be back in a moment, everybody, with phone calls. Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Clearly, I made a big mistake a moment ago. Mm-hmm. If you want to, not on you, if you want to call, this is the phone number to call, 844-913-2727. 844-913-2727. If you're trying to call the text message line, you're wasting your time. Nobody answers. So once again, if you want to call, toll-free 844-913-2727. Text messages 425-780-7566. If you keep calling the text message line, I'm going to block you, and you're not going to be able to even text anymore. So stop calling the text message line. You know who's
very difficult for some people.
You know who's not in the Hall of Awesome, Mike?
Who?
You.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of your Hall of Awesome. I don't. I'm not impressed by
Good.
that. It's not an honor to me.
Good.
What, because Vinny woke up actually during a segment and actually, declare something great? No. I don't care.
Oh, wow.
I'm not trying to be around
Vinny
any
declared
of
it great, too. But I'm the one who's, yeah. Let's go to the phones. Brandon, you're on the air. My good friend Brandon, what's going on?
Meet your friend.
Hey, what's up, Mike? What's
Are you
up,
my
Bryan?
friend, Brandon?
Hope you guys have
See, what's up, Mike? What's up, Brandon?
Are you my
See, thank you, brother.
Are you my friend? Of course
I am your friend, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. What's on your mind?
Oh, you're welcome. Hey, I wanted to know, I'm like everybody, I am enjoying the Sami Zayn stuff with the Bloodline. And, just wondering, like, how do you guys think specifically how things will play out? I mean, it looks like the obvious direction is, obviously the Bloodline turns on Sami, but do you think maybe Sami wises up first, turns on them, and, I'm just excited with this whole segment, and there's a lot of things specifically they could do ultimately, I figure Sammy and Kevin do team up and dethrone the Usos, but maybe they do something else. I don't know, but just want to get more of your thoughts on that.
Yes, my friend Brandon, I want to thank you very much for the call. I think the most obvious thing, and what I would do, and there's a lot of things I would do, is I would have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens beat the Usos for the tag team titles at WrestleMania. I think that's the best. Sammy is so over. Kevin Owens, we know the history. It's something for both of them to do. Everybody asks who's going to beat the Usos. They've beaten all of these tag teams. Sammy and Kevin, after the Usos turn on Sammy and Kevin makes the save and they go on a quest and they beat them for the tag team titles. You can do the Rumble, whatever. That's the direction I would go with all of this. I think that's, and people going, maybe, if something doesn't work out with The Rock, Sammy ain't beating Roman Reigns.
No.
He's not, okay? But Sammy and Kevin can beat the Usos, and I think it would be fantastic.
Absolutely. And a long enough period of time has gone by since Kevin and Sammy have been reunited together. And I know Kevin always turns on Sammy, but you know what? Enough time has gone by. People forget about that. They want to see them together, and again, who knows what's going to happen? And almost any way somebody wants to fantasy book this, it's probably going to be pretty good because of the people that are involved. But The Rock, if he's coming back to take back the bloodline, or if he's got a beef with Roman, there's a lot of ways you can try to put cracks into things and get Sammy out of that group, whether it's him doing something that screws up something with Solo Sikoa, which leads to a tag match with Solo and Jay against Jimmy and Sammy. Do you do a turn then? Is that how you go about doing it? So there's a lot of different ways you can fantasy book it, but the one that makes the most sense, the one that's the most obvious, and the thing that's going to get the best reaction is Sammy and Kevin getting back together again and being the ones to finally put down the Usos after whatever they're at right now, 500 plus days as champions.
Let's go to my main man, my friend, Dagan. You're on the air. What's up, Dagan?
What's going on, guys? What's up, Twitch homies? It's been a little while. Brian, I think you're just avoiding me because you know that you're going to owe me a year subscription to your super followers after MJF gets cheered in a non-New York building, but that's besides the point. I was calling in today to get your thoughts on AEW. It's interesting. I called a year ago, I think, just about, and AEW was at a point then when ticket sales were through the roof. They were selling out Arthur Ashe Stadium, and I asked you, Brian, about what you think AEW should do to keep up with this demand. Well, a year later, now they're struggling to sell tickets. There's some of these shows like this Atlantic City Rampage coming up where they barely sold 1,000 tickets in a 10,000-seat venue. So I wanted to kind of switch that question up now a year later and ask you, what do you think AEW should do to start moving tickets a little bit more?
Wait, they sold 1,000 tickets? Wait, 1,000 tickets in a 10,000-seat venue?
Well, hold on. Yeah, I'm going to these WrestleTix numbers right now. Give me a second here, and I'll let you know for sure exactly what they are. But there are a couple of shows that have been very, very, very slow.
Well, that's slow, but I'm talking like the final number is not 1,000 and 10,000.
No, and obviously not the final number yet, no. They would have already canceled by that point in all likelihood.
Well, here's
the Boardwalk City Hall Rampage coming up on November 5th. They've sold only about 1,000 tickets so far for a 10,000 seat venue. But anyway, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously, there's a million things that are going on and that could be happening. One thing is, I mean, in general, unless you're on a hot streak, I mean, you're not going to draw as well the second time as you draw the first time, especially if you're going regularly. But the best example for me locally is I love Defy shows, and I don't go to every Defy show. And, part of it is, scheduling and everything like that, but they run all the time. And it's not even so much that they run all the time, but I also know that if they run all the time and I miss it, I can go the next month. And, Chicago market in particular, it's like, dude, they run Chicago a lot. And, that's one of the things about WWE. WWE is on a hot streak right now, so they're doing well everywhere. But, even when they're not on a hot streak, they'll still do, fine because, especially around here, it's like, how often do I get a WWE show? We had a SmackDown taping. I have no idea when they're coming back. No clue. So if I'm a fan even a little bit of WWE, if they're coming to town, like, I got to go. Otherwise, I don't even know when they're coming back. If I lived in Chicago and an AEW is running a show and maybe I got something that night, it's like, they'll be back in a month, 2 months or whatever. So there's that aspect. And then, there's also the aspect of it not being as hot as it was for live crowds. It's not new. And, that's the way things go with attendance. Everyone's going to have ups and downs. WWE's up right now, and AEW is not up. So
it's not, neither one is a really hot touring product right now. And the numbers exactly that it were last audited 19 hours ago, tickets distributed for Atlantic City. This is for the Boardwalk Hall on November 4th, the Rampage. 1,022 tickets distributed, available tickets 3,709. So we still got, about 6 weeks plus before that show is going to take place. It's funny, in some pockets, it seems to be WWE has canceled 5 out of 6 Sunday Sizzler shows, or whatever they call their Sunday show, in places like Grand Prairie, Alberta, and there was one in Oregon, and a couple of them that they've seemingly canceled, and they seemingly sell tickets, I guess, about 1,000, 2,000, but it gets to a point where if they're not selling any in the last couple of weeks at all, they've canceled those shows outright. So, and I know there's a very slow SmackDown, I think, that's going to be taping, and I think that's in Arizona that's going to be coming up, where the ticket sales seem to be slow for right now. So a lot of this has got to do not only with the fact that they're not hot, but the fact that there's a crunch in the economy right now in some of these towns, especially ones, Oklahoma City, I think, is actually where it is that's slow. They've been there a couple of times, and they haven't cracked 5,000. Apparently, they're having trouble getting 4 right now. So once you go to a place too often, and the fact that, money is tight right now, it's going to be probably a rough road here going into the new year.
All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's going on?
Hi, Brian. This is JB, a super friend. And in the next year, we're going to need to up our prediction game. After this year, we need a much bolder prediction.
God.
And one that was handed to me was that Tony, running a private company, hires Vince McMahon and reprises the Mr. McMahon character and puts him on the dark programming.
Well, listen, I want to thank you very much for the call. And do you notice he called himself a super friend and not a super follower? But I would say that it's very, very unlikely because Vince McMahon is persona non grata. And I don't see Tony going after somebody that just had a scandal like that. Plus, I don't know what Vince is doing right now.
He wouldn't. Are you kidding me? You think Vince McMahon would do that? Are you out of your mind? Are you nuts? You think he'd truly inject the poison?
But you know what? I don't know. I don't know what he'd do. I don't know anything about the guy.
He would absolutely not do that. No way.
What's he doing right now? His hobbies? What hobbies? He has no hobby. What's he going to the gym 18 hours a day?
Are you kidding?
I don't know what he's going to do, but you know what he's doing now?
The thing
Nothing.
He is most proud of?
He's probably bored out of his mind.
The reflection of himself, the company that to this day may or may not have possibly allegedly tampered with people under contract, even under a new regime. No way. No way. That line may be in winter.
Wait, who are you talking about? If Tony would do it or if Vince would do it?
Vince McMahon appearing on a Tony Khan? No way. Nothing that's not WWE Vince McMahon will ever appear on. Stop that.
You know what? Maybe he thinks that Stephanie and Triple H threw him under the bus, and so now he's out for revenge. I don't know. I don't know what this guy thinks.
Let me tell you something.
Brother, if I knew what Vince McMahon thought, I'd have had a lot easier time the last 4 years.
If that's the case, if he thought that Triple H and Stephanie did something like that, the way you made it sound, that was going to be some sort of vigilante movie. We need Vince to be in some sort of documentary, some sort of his own series, focusing on him going after them. No way does he ever put one dime in the pocket of Tony Khan. No way. No. It's not in his nature.
I mean, it's not in his
nature as a promoter.
It's not going to happen. But you know what's not impossible? Anything. Actually, there's a lot of things that are impossible, but this one isn't. If something's possible, if something is possible, Mike, it's not impossible. And you should know that from following all of the news in 2022, because nobody's winning this prediction contest. And you know what? You could have all won, because it was nothing Nothing but crazy things that happened this year. One insane thing after another happened in 2022. So I don't know. Yeah, you have a good. You know what I'm going to do for the Granny Show this coming week? I got a great contest.
Set.
What's Vince McMahon doing right now? Who's got the best answer?
Something illegal. Maybe something legal.
Listen.
A secretary.
Okay, I don't have much in common with Vince, okay? But one thing I do have in common is
blondes.
I essentially do two things. I work all the time, and I hang out with my wife and children. That's it.
What? Wait a second.
What
Time
else
out.
do I do? Oh, I
Time
guess I
out.
go to
Time out.
jiu-jitsu. But...
You're saying that's what makes you like Vince McMahon?
No, can I continue?
Okay.
What hobbies do I have? Do I go to the movies? Do I paint? Do I play pickleball?
No.
Like, if all of a sudden I was no longer doing this job, if tomorrow, like, podcasting became illegal, whatever, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What in God's name would I do if all of a sudden I didn't have to wake up and do this job?
You lost your whole identity.
So
You'd have
I
to
can
go find a new one.
So when I think about Vince McMahon, that's a great question. What's this guy doing right now?
Reading.
Reading?
Playing Jenga.
Oh, he's reading. Oh, he's playing. Yeah, I bet he's doing that. I bet he's on the New York Times doing Wordle.
Little antiquing.
Back in a moment, Observer Live.
Question number 5. Where did you go on your first date ever?
My first date ever? I don't remember. Like with Sammy, we went to a trampoline park, but like my first date ever, I don't remember.
You're like, I already forgot about all those others in the past. They're done. Question number 6. What's something people would be shocked to know about you?
Ooh, okay. I feel I'm really like, what's the right word? I'm really silly, and I feel people don't get to know this part of me. I'm always like, Sammy always say that. He was like, when you showed me this like silly part of you, I was shocked because I'm really silly. Like I make face, I make jokes, like, but I need to feel like really comfortable with the person that I am with.
I love that. Question number 7. If one actress could play you in a movie, who would it be?
I don't know this one. First, because I'll be honest with you, I'm bad with names.
I feel you.
I'm really bad with names, like memorize names, like movie names, actors. I don't know. I'm not gonna embarrass myself here with that. I already did it, but let's keep this one.
Well, let's see if you can answer this one. If you could star in any movie, any role, which would it have been?
Damn.
I'll take any answer. If not, we'll just make it something else.
I don't know. I'm embarrassed now. I have no idea.
Hey, it just gives you homework. You can think about it afterwards.
Yeah, I promise I will. And it happens all the time. Like people ask me, like, what's your favorite movie? And I'm like, where is Sammy? Sammy, the one that we watched 2 days ago. What's the name of it? I never know.
You know what's funny? In a day from now or 2 days from now, you're gonna see something, be like, damn it, I should have said that as my answer.
Always happened. I was like, that was the name. It was so easy. How did I forget? My bad. I'll work on it, I promise.
No worries. Question number 9. What's the coolest thing you've ever done outside of wrestling?
Outside of wrestling? Ooh, so many things. I feel like traveling the world, like, it's a great thing that I learned so much, like, about different cultures. I'm curious. I'm super curious. I love to learn another language. Like, I'm on my way. I want to start, like, learn Italian now. I already started, but I kind of pulled off a little bit. I'm going back. Like, I love to learn about different cultures.
I love that. And question number 10, last question. Describe the best date night.
Netflix, popcorn, wine, Sammy and my cats.
Perfect. Well said.
Oh, my God.
You all right?
Dude, it took me an hour to figure out how to resubscribe with Prime. You want to know why? Because I
Why?
didn't just look at the box that said, use Prime with a check mark. I was busy. I'm a busy guy.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of work here.
A lot of excuse making.
No, there's no excuse making. I do a lot
Yeah.
of work here. And
Yeah.
if I didn't have this job, I'd just be making videos for my super followers or something. But I can't
my
do that
God.
all day.
No, because then you wouldn't have any super followers because people wouldn't want to care about you. 'Cause they wouldn't
Incorrect.
know who you are.
Jingo here was my the bane of my existence, but now he's my friend
Oh, yeah?
through super following because he
As soon
found
as
out.
somebody gives you money.
He found out that it was a great value and that it was worth it. And if anybody would tell you the truth about whether it's worth it or not, it would be my arch rival, Jingu. But he liked it. So,
So now you have
what
a
does that
kinship.
tell you?
Ah.
We do have a kinship, yes. Yes. Because, you know, if you're willing to pay to super follow me, then I know that if I disagree with you, you're acting in good faith, and you're not a troll. There's a big difference.
Because somebody's paying
Trolls
you.
are cheap.
Somebody's paying you to give a different opinion. You
Not paying me
now
to give a
validate
different-
it
not-
more
no.
because you've been gilded by them.
No, because a troll who brings nothing to the table is just merely a troll. They're trying to push your buttons. But
Some sort of instigator say.
Brian, if you ever need a hobby, fishing is fun to do. No,
Are you kidding me?
I'm not going to go fishing.
No, he would not do that.
The whales. Do you guys understand the whales need fish around here?
Although,
I can't
Brian,
go fishing.
I would love to go fishing with you. I would love to go fishing with you.
What,
Have
so you
you
can
ever
throw me
seen-
off the boat? That's a
You
horrible
ever
thing
seen
to
The
say.
Godfather? You ever see The Godfather?
You're a
Brian?
horrible person. But you know what? Thank God we got a weekend off. Well, you do. I don't. I'll be
I
working all
don't.
weekend, everybody.
The wrestling news don't stop, buddy.
That's true. It doesn't stop. But we'll talk to you next time, everyone. Wrestling Observer Live.